Welcome back to the shop. Today we are doing some aggressive recycling. I found a pile of stripped bits and cheap screws. Instead of throwing them away, we're going to use the Canister Damascus method to turn this junk into a high-performance tactical dagger. If you are into this, subscribe and join the adventure. First step, the vessel. I'm taking a piece of square mild steel tubing. Now, watch this. I'm coating the inside with correction fluid. Yes, white out. It contains titanium dioxide, which acts as a release agent. If you skip this, the canister welds to the screws, and you'll spend a week grinding it off. I pack the screws and bits in tight. I mean, really tight. We want maximum density to minimize air gaps. Once it's full, I weld a mild steel cap on top. It doesn't need to be a pretty weld. It just needs to be sealed to keep oxygen out. Safety check. I drill a small vent hole in the cap. If you put a sealed pipe in a forge, it becomes a pipe bomb. I also spray a little oil inside. As the canister heats up, the oil burns off and consumes the remaining oxygen, creating a reducing atmosphere to prevent rust. Into the coal forge. We need to reach forge welding temperature, which is about 1200 to 1300 degrees Celsius. You want a bright yellow, almost white heat. Once it's soaked through, we take it to the hydraulic press for the squish. I compress it from all sides. This force consolidates the individual screws into a solid mass. We reheat and press again to draw it out into a rectangular billet. Now we cut the end off to verify we have solid steel inside and not just a bag of hot rocks. Now we peel the banana. I've ground through the edges of the canister, and now I'm using a chisel to peel off the mild steel skin. Thanks to that whiteout earlier, it separates cleanly from the high-carbon core we created. It looks rough, but that's solid steel. The grain structure is a bit coarse, and the pattern needs work. So I'm cutting this bar into sections. We are going to restack these pieces to increase the layer count. This improves the mechanical properties and makes the final pattern look much cooler. I stack the cut pieces and clamp them in the vise. I use the stick welder to run beads down the sides. This holds the stack together and seals the seams so oxygen can't get in between the layers during the next heat. Back to the forge. Once it's red hot, I pull it out and sprinkle on anhydrous borax. This is flux. It melts into a liquid glass, cleaning the steel and protecting it from oxidation. Then, under the power hammer, light taps to set the weld, then heavy hits to forge it solid. I move to the press to flatten the bar. We are turning that tall stack back into a usable flat bar. I use a hot cut tool on the press to trim the ragged ends while it's still plastic. Efficiency is key here. Don't let the steel get cold. We aren't done folding yet. I use a hot cut to slice the bar in half. After it cools slightly, I take the angle grinder and grind the mating surfaces down to clean, bare metal. You cannot forge weld over scale or rust, so take the time to clean it properly. I tack weld the two clean halves together again. This is the sanmai, or folding process. We are exponentially increasing the layers, mixing the screw steel with the bit steel to ensure a uniform billet. Into the fire, flux it, and hammer it again. After drawing that out, I clean the surfaces with a grinder again. I mark it out and cut the bar into 4 pieces this time. We are going for a very high layer count to get a dense, complex pattern. This is where the real work happens. I stack the 4 clean plates, clamp them, and weld the sides shut. This is our final billet stack. Back into the forge, more borax flux, and then we take it to the power hammer to forge it into one solid block for the last time. Now we draw it out. I use the press to squish it long, and the power hammer to smooth it out. We need a flat bar that is roughly the thickness of our final knife, about 4 or 5 millimeters. The steel is moved, not removed. I use a hot cut tool on the press to trim the ends one last time. Then, I refine the shape on the anvil with a hand hammer. I'm checking for straightness and uniform thickness. It's starting to look like a knife blank now. After letting it cool, I take the angle grinder to the surface. I need to grind off the fire scale and the outer layer of welds to reveal the clean steel underneath. This also gives me a flat surface to scribe my design. I'm drawing the profile directly on the steel. I want a symmetrical spear point dagger with a skeletonized handle. I use a ruler to mark the center line. Daggers are unforgiving. If you aren't symmetrical, it will look terrible. Time to cut it out. I'm using a thin cut-off wheel on the angle grinder. I trace the lines carefully. Look at the sparks. Those bursting star patterns confirm we have high carbon content, meaning this will actually hold an edge. I finish the profile on the belt grinder, smoothing out the jagged cuts. Then I clamp it back in the vise. I'm marking the center line for a series of weight reduction holes. Center punch them first so the drill bit doesn't wander. Over to the drill press. I'm drilling through the handle and the blade. Since this is composite steel, you might hit hard spots, so use plenty of coolant and take it slow. I'm drilling a row of holes down the center of the blade itself. Now I switch to a step drill, a unibit. I'm chamfering the holes in the handle. This removes sharp edges that could cut the paracord later. For the blade holes, I'm drilling them slightly larger to prepare for the next step. Here is a tricky detail. I'm using the angle grinder to cut a slot connecting the holes in the blade. This creates a skeletonized fuller. It looks aggressive and reduces forward weight. You need a steady hand for this. One slip and the blade is scrap. I'm using a die grinder with a carbide burr to clean up the inside of that slot. It needs to be perfectly smooth. Then, I move to the large stone wheel. This is an old-school grinder. I'm using it to hollow grind the main bevels. The large wheel creates a concave geometry, which makes the edge extremely thin and sharp. I have to be careful to keep the grind even on both sides of the dagger. I check the center line constantly. I switch to an angle grinder with a flap disc to blend the grind lines and smooth the transition into the handle. I'm also refining the finger choil area so it doesn't bite into your hand. Back to the bench. I'm using a die grinder to do some final detailing inside the handle holes. Every edge needs to be chamfered. Sharp corners are stress risers that can cause cracks during heat treat, so we smooth everything out. I verify the geometry one last time. I don't want to grind hardened steel later if I don't have to. The blade is looking symmetrical. The bevels are even. Now we are ready to take it to the fire. I mark the central groove with a black marker to create a guide coat. Then I take the angle grinder with a thick wheel and carefully widen that slot. I want the fuller to have crisp, defined lines. This takes a very steady hand. If you're into precision work and clean metal craft like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next step. I switched to the die grinder with a carbide burr again. I'm going inside every single hole in the handle and the blade. I need to remove any burrs left from the drilling process. If I leave those, they will snag the paracord later or create weak points. It's tedious, but necessary. Heat treat time. I put the blade in the forge and bring it up to critical temperature, about 850 degrees Celsius. I check for even color. Then, the quench. Into the oil it goes. The flare-up confirms the carbon is locking into a crystalline structure. It is now hardened tool steel. I work through the grits, 220, 400, then 600. I have to be thorough, especially in the hollow grinds and the central groove. Any deep scratch left behind will ruin the final look. I clean it with degreaser. Any oil fingerprint will block the acid. After the quench, I stick it in a bucket of granules to soak up the excess oil. Now begins the real work, hand sanding. I clamp it to a board, use soapy water as a lubricant, and start scrubbing. I need to remove the black fire scale and refine the surface. The moment of truth. I lower the blade into a tall bath of ferric chloride. The acid eats the carbon steel from the screws faster than the alloy bits. I neutralize it with a spray bottle. You can see the dark gray oxides forming. That's the pattern emerging. Time to wrap the handle. I'm using olive drab paracord. I melt the end so it doesn't fray, loop it through the bottom hole, and start a tight wrap up the handle tang. This provides a secure, textured grip without adding weight. I weave the cord back down through the center holes. This mechanical lock ensures the wrap won't slide around during use. I thread the loose end back under the loops, trim the excess with a blade, and melt it flat with a lighter to seal it. Testing time. Let's see if it flies. I throw it hard into the wood plank. Thwack. It sticks deep. The tip takes the impact perfectly. No bending, no chipping. The heat treat was successful. One more throw for good measure. Perfect stick. From a bucket of rusty screws to a custom tactical dagger. If you enjoyed this build, smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.